fundsupermart.com.
Hello everyone. The Japanese equity market has been one of the weaker performers so far this year. Today we have Mr. Kwok Chern Yeh, Head of Japanese Equities of Aberdeen Asset Management, to share with us his views. Hi Chern Yeh, thanks for joining us. After a strong rally in 2013, Japanese equities, as represented by Nikkei 225 index, plunged 9% in local currency terms in the first quarter. What do you think are the main factors that led to the weaker performance?
I think there's been a lot of focus on Abenomics, and I think the decline in markets this year reflects a fair bit of disappointment on what the Prime Minister has promised last year. Some of the structural reforms that he was expecting, or the investors were expecting, hasn't come through as strongly as some had expected. And I think there was a bit of over-promising of these structural reforms by the administration. Now that disappointment has led to the current fall of about 9% in the market, as you say. But at the same time, we think that valuations are starting to look a bit more attractive.
With the consumption tax finally increased, will there be a huge adverse impact on the Japanese economy and its recovery momentum?
The consumption tax hike has different effects on different types of companies. I mean, most particularly you see this in retailers. Amongst the department stores, you see discretionary spending. They expect it to fall, and relatively significantly, I think. There was a lot of buying in advance of the consumption tax hike. But amongst perhaps the convenience store retailers or the less, not the discretionary goods type of retailers, you see actually expectations that sales will be relatively stable. We think that with the consumption tax, yes, there will be an effect on the economy, at least for the next quarter or so. But I think over time these things sort of even out, and I think to extrapolate that over the longer term, it might not be the right thing to do.
Going into the second quarter, what is your outlook on Japanese equities? Are their valuations still attractive?
I think, well, this is very short term in the second quarter, but I think what our outlook for the year actually is that after a very strong run last year, there will be some consolidation, and the market may get a little bit bumpier. Some of the reforms that the administration is trying to push through won't be easy, and as a result, you see a bit of concern, although there will be a fair bit of optimism that some of these reforms actually will come through. There's also a view that the Bank of Japan will come through and push for a bit of stimulus if the economy weakens. So, but I think overall, if you look at the strong run last year, the many reforms that are in line to be pushed through this year, some of which are not easy, I think you probably get the market will probably be a bit bumpier, I think.
Which are the sectors that you are bullish or bearish on?
We don't particularly focus on sectors per se. We focus on individual companies. But as a result of the companies that we see and we invest in, there are some sectors that turn out to be relatively interesting to us. Some of the consumer goods companies, some auto companies in Japan, they're amongst the best in the world. Some consumer goods companies, they've done very well within Japan and taken their business models outside of Japan. Their products sell very well in countries like China, Southeast Asia, and so on. And also in industrials, for some of these companies, they're leveraged to global capex. But they're also amongst the best at what they do in the world. Very few companies do these things, especially in factory automation, and we think these companies have been very well run over the longer term too.